Hey everybody, what's going on? Okay, what I want to talk about today are Jeep Cherokees. The model years like 91 to 96. Now, if you're looking to purchase a Jeep Cherokee for a bug out vehicle, or say just an everyday driver, or if you're looking for one to build for the trails, something to do extreme trail driving with, there are a few things you need to look out for and be prepared about the Cherokees. Now, the first thing about the Cherokees is you need to drive it, okay? Make sure it doesn't have any crazy vibration or wobbles coming out of the steering wheel. So the steering wheel, it's only got one steering wheel. Damn it, I can't talk. So anyway, drive it if it drives good. There are a few other things to look out for. The wobble, I'll get into a little bit later. First thing that, if it was me, I always look at your valve cover, okay? All Cherokees, or pretty much all Jeep owners that have the 4-liter engine, they all leak out of the valve cover gasket, okay? It's cheap. It's a $30 part. It takes about an hour to put it on. No big deal. The next thing is the 4-liter Jeep engine is inherently known for overheating. Not because it's a bad motor, it's just because that people don't take care of the cooling system like they should. The first thing you want to look out for is, say, if you do find a Cherokee that you like it but does have an overheating problem, look down here, the lower radiator hose, okay? All lower radiator hoses on the Cherokee should have a metal spring inside that hose. Now, if it doesn't, when the engine gets hot, that hose will collapse, okay? It will cut off the circulation for the coolant, cause it to overheat. Again, not a big deal, but if you do have a Cherokee that's got that spring in that hose and you go to replace it, pull that spring out, because 9 times out of 10, you won't buy another hose that'll have that spring in it, okay? Next thing you want to look into is look at your radiator cap. Make sure you have a good radiator cap. Look at your coolant, just like any other vehicle, pardon the wind. Make sure it's nice and green, okay? You have a lot of people that just run straight water and they get rusty brown and it looks like, muddy coffee inside, and that's not good. The next thing is you want to look at your clutch fan. Okay, this is your clutch fan right in front of your AC compressor, or where mine used to be. Well, no, this compressor's still on this Jeep. That's my other Jeep. So anyway, it's right here. It should have a little bit of free spool, but not a lot. Just a little bit, okay? Now, if you spin it and it keeps going and going and going, it's bad, okay? Replace it, $30 part. Easy to do, easy to do. The next thing is look at your water pump. It's right down here, right behind that pulley, okay? Now, you can grab this here, see if it's got any play in it, if it shakes or whatever, or if you can tell it's leaking, or any leaks on the vehicle. Your water pump, I think, is like a $50 part, new. Easy to do, just time consuming, no big deal. Let's see. Oh, also, you might have a bad temperature gauge, okay? See this right here? That's your temperature sending unit for your gauge. I think it's $10. Easy, easy. The next thing would be the thermostat. They're known to get gunk and shit built up around the thermostat, and they're underneath here. It's like 2 bolts, okay? $10 part. Easy, easy get. No big deal to fix. All this stuff is simple. The next thing Cherokees are known for is not having hot air blow out of the heater. Okay, your heater core is right back here, and that's caused by the heater core getting gummed and junked up, or there's a metal line that comes off of your water pump, and that is right here. And sometimes it will get stopped up with all that sludge and gunk and crap. So you always want to take that off and blow it out and get it real good and clean, and that should fix your heater core problem. A lot of times I'll take and drain my radiator, take my heater hoses off, okay, and I'll blow or flush all the coolant out with the water hose, or use compressed air. But be really careful before you start blowing air or water at pressure through your heater core, because you could screw your heater core up, bust a hole in it or something like this. Will be real easy. But anyway, once it's nice and clean and free, I'll buy that CLR stuff, that calcium lime and rust remover. Pour it down on my hose and make it where it won't drain out. Let it sit and fester for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then flush clean water through it. 9 times out of 10, that will fix a heater core issue in a Jeep. You'll start getting hot air again. If not, you may have to get a heater core. Also, if that metal line right there it stopped up, you won't get any heat. Okay, it happened to me, and it pissed me off because it took me like a week to figure out where my blockage was. The next thing is the Cherokees are known to have exhaust manifold leaks. Right in here, you'll have cracks someplace in your exhaust manifold up here or down where it meets the muffler, or this gasket right here. It gets brittle and cracks. Again, this gasket is not hard to replace. It's a one-piece gasket. It's made for your intake manifold and your exhaust manifold. There's like, I don't know, maybe 15 bolts. You take those out. You gotta, undo all your linkage and stuff here in your air box and all your little lines. Just move that stuff to the side. Again, it's just time consuming. It's not hard. The only thing is, if you do it, all these exhaust or these manifold and exhaust manifold bolts, they have to go back in a certain order at a certain spec. So make sure you have a torque wrench on hand. The next big thing about any Jeep Cherokee, Jeep Grand Cherokee, Laredos, the Wranglers, they all have the death wobble. Okay. Now, the death wobble, 9 times out of 10. Is caused by bad steering components. Usually it's your tie rod ends here, okay? Could be a wore out track bar or your other end down here. That's majority of the times where you'll find it. It could be, several different things. It could be a wore out wheel bearing. It could be your upper or lower ball joints. Hell, it could even be caused by your U-joint there in your front axle shaft. Could be a bad tire, or it could be a bent rim. So all those things play a part in the death wobble. Now, if you do have the death wobble, get it fixed. Don't screw around with it and drive it and think you can, I can drive it until I get to 45 miles an hour. 46 miles an hour, it start wobbling like crazy. I'll just keep it to 45. Don't do it. Get it fixed. There's a reason they call it the death wobble, dummy, because it kills people. So don't play around. Get that fixed. I'm trying to think of something else for the death wobble. Could be bad shocks. If you've got a shock that's totally, too poop to pop, or too poop to shock, or whatever. A shock could cause it too, but that's a rare instance. I never do hear that happen. It's always like tie rods or track bar, and you can replace all your shrink components up underneath the Jeep for probably $300 brand new. So, it's a good investment. At least it'd be fixed. So, the next thing I would look into would be, Jeeps are also inherent for having rusty floors, okay? They are getting pretty long in the tooth, so you always want to get up underneath, look at your floorboards, especially under the driver and under the passenger seat. Like this one here, it's got rust in it. Let's see. Okay, if you look right here on mine, I don't know if I'm looking at it right, but see that little rusty spot? I just haven't had time to fix these. They just didn't undercoat the Cherokees very well. Or you get it up here, or you get it in your toe boards, up in here on both sides. You'll have rust. So always check that stuff out and look at your frame rails, okay? Make sure that they're all in good shape, not rusted through. Look up under here, see your frame rail right in here. Make sure that's in good shape. And also, your Cherokees have fuel filters up underneath the back. Give me a second, I'll show you. Okay, see that right there? That's your fuel filter on all Cherokees, and a lot of them, they've been up there forever. They're probably 20 years old. Maybe not that old, but they'll be rusty and not worth the crap, and they'll start actually leaking really bad. So get that replaced, $10 part. That fuel line coming off of it, replace that too. Easy to replace because it just goes on up to the top of your gas tank. Like I said, just a little time consuming. It's not hard at all. And the only other thing you need to look out for, well, not the only thing, the bump stops right here, they just screw on. They get rusty and rot away, just like that one. I've got new ones, I just haven't put them on. Really not a big deal, but it might start causing your frame rail to start rusting out, so fix that as soon as possible.